day and welcome. We are in beautiful St. Lucia at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. My name is Tracy Pilgrim George, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenter today, Mr. Vladimir Lucien, lecturer at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, world-renowned poet, and my esteemed colleague and friend. Good afternoon, Vladimir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. Pleased to be here.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yes.
Now, you are the chair of the Uprising Illumination Series Lecture.
Yes.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about how that started?
Well, the Uprising endeavor, because it's larger than the lecture, but the Illumination Series, which is its flagship event, started as a group of lectures that we hope to tap into indigenous intellectuals and have them connect with the community. And of course, we started at home in the college where some of the best intellectuals in St. Lucia reside, to have them deliver on topics of interest to the public, of practical concern as well. Our first lecture was hosted in January, the inaugural lecture delivered by Dr. Winston Fulgence, and since then we've had two other very successful lectures that have been both successful in terms of persons coming, which was testament to our connection with the community, but also, you know, in a portentous kind of way as well, our connection with the online community, which was wider than the national boundaries that surround us. It went to the region and internationally, and the numbers were really encouraging and tremendous. So far this lecture series has garnered a lot of interest, and we hope to continue delivering things of real interest in the present day. And as the online presence suggests, to also be alongside or walking in tandem with the cutting edge as it happens in the world.
So I have heard that we have somebody interesting on for today. Tell our viewers, who should we expect for the lecture today?
Okay, so the lecturer, who's our fourth lecturer in the series, is a very special individual. His name is Professor Anant Agarwal, who is a professor with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, better known as MIT. He is also, and perhaps even more germane to the lecture today, he is also the CEO of edX, which is an online learning platform, and a pioneering one at that, that has, well, it was founded through a partnership with Harvard and MIT, where they were coming together hoping to, of course, deal with some of the challenges we see in education today, which is the challenge, financial challenge, because they are also an organization that provides education, of course cheaper in that you could do it from your own home because it's online, as well as there are some free courses that are available through this online platform, as well as the other kind of prohibitive factors about education, about buildings, maintenance, all of these things that come with having a physical plant that is ponderous on organizations that have to run it. The online eliminates a lot of that and literally puts maintenance at the fingertips of the persons responsible. So Professor Agarwal is coming to start to introduce us more to that world, because we haven't really entered there yet here in St. Lucia, and perhaps not really in the Caribbean. So I mean, he's coming here, and that's what makes it even more momentous. That's happening here in St. Lucia, and he's going to talk about these opportunities, open educational opportunities online for St. Lucia and Sir Arthur Lewis.
That's a wonderful, wonderful initiative.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look right now at a clip from TED Talks.
I'd like to reimagine education. The last year has seen the invention of a new four-letter word. It starts with an M, MOOC, massive open online courses. Many organizations are offering these online courses to students all over the world, in the millions, for free. Anybody who has an internet connection and the will to learn can access these great courses from excellent universities and get a credential at the end of it. Now, in this discussion today, I'm going to focus on a different aspect of MOOCs. We are taking what we're learning and the technologies we are developing in the large and applying them in the small to create a blended model of education to really reinvent and reimagine what we do in the classroom.
Well, we all know that online education is definitely the future, and this is a fantastic opportunity for us here at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and St. Lucia at large. What is your take on online education?
Well, I think of the situation in St. Lucia, where there seems to be major hurdles in terms of persons making that next step into full tertiary education, university education. The fact of even being within an archipelago creates prohibitive factors about going to another island to study and so on. And there's also the concern with quality. Yes, you may have access to some online programs now, but you don't know, you're not sure about the quality of what you're receiving. And I mean, the names behind it, and perhaps it's also time honored, behind edX, reputable names. Yes, you have Harvard and MIT, but they're also linked globally with a host of institutions. And they also continuously seek to improve it, from what I understand. I mean, they do research into the interaction with what they're providing and continuously try to update it to meet the needs of the modern person and the ordinary person at that. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. As a lecturer as well, you see students of great potential, um, founder under the very heavy burden of having to go out and study and having to face the fact that you won't be able to with all the interest and all of that. And I think it would change St. Lucian society altogether, because all of those people that I've seen come and struggle and want to go out but can't, all those dreams that I've really founded, and now have an outlet.
And how is that? How is MOOC relevant to the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, St. Lucia specifically?
Well, Sir Arthur Lewis has been for a long time I'd say the hub of tertiary education, and and has been in its own right trying to reach out and do what it is doing, or what it's supposed to do, even better. And I think this is where, if it's somewhere that kind of thing has to happen, this is where it ought to happen. That it's a natural extension of what we've been doing in a less online way, if you want to call it that. And it comes at a great time for Sir Arthur Lewis, because this is the time when Sir Arthur is looking at transformation and growth, evolution, reflecting on the past and looking into the future. And I think the future is really there. The future is literally standing right in front of us, in the incarnation of Professor Agarwal and what he brings with him, which is the edX opportunity.
I think what's important for us to also realize is that this particular opportunity is not only for people interested in tertiary education, it's open education. Because it is not only the education is not only about receiving a certificate. It's
which you can do definitely with edX, and yes, the courses are provided by world-class professors as well. But of course, there's the issue of lifelong learning, of persons who just want to perhaps do a course in something here and there, not without going towards getting a degree, and that is available as well. Meaning, as you said, it's open in terms of the different types of educational opportunities that are available to you, whether it's degree oriented or whether it's focused on something a little more short term. All of these are catered to. And the beauty of it is that you're part of an initiative that is dedicated to evolution as well. So it means that things will not remain the same, and they're going to try their best and, well, going to make sure that they are moving with the times, and continuing with that focus of providing education, which many things online have done to the common man. And he could access it from his living room or his study at home, or one of the institutions here.
So now that you become a student at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, you now have this opportunity to do courses from all over the world. It's a bundle.
Yes, once we make our way into that kind of, we transition into that kind of thing, that could be one of the possibilities that are there for persons attending Sir Arthur Lewis Community.
Well, thank you so much, Vladimir, for being with us here this afternoon. This is a wonderful opportunity for us. Thank you so much for that information. And we invite you viewers to come and listen to us online at www.salcctv.org. We have online streaming. We also welcome you to be part of our audience here on the Morn today for our Uprising Illumination lecture series. Part of the beauty of being a student here and also a lecturer at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College is the beautiful scenery we're surrounded by. We overlook city of Castries, and we are in historical buildings, etc. So right now we pause for a minute to take a look and enjoy the scenery of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College.
It is my pleasure to spend the next hour with you to talk about education and talk about some of the dreams that we all have in how something which is such a basic human right, education, can be used to completely transform the world. So this talk will be about, I'll spend some time dreaming about the future and give you a glimpse of what the future might look like. And how many of you here are academics? We can define academics as teachers, professors, people involved with leadership of education, people in the Ministry of Education. How many of you, raise your hands. So all of you can change the world. And of course, all the students. And so my talk is to really help drive this vision of what digital technology can do for education, what we can do for education in all our lives. But before we begin, let me start with a pretty some scary thoughts. So that's 2030. So I want you to fast forward your minds to the year 2030. So that is about 12 years ahead, not too far out. So I want you to think about what fraction, and I want you to yell out the answer, what fraction, what percentage of today's jobs will still be around in 2030? So yell out the answer. What percentage of today's jobs will still be around in 2030 because of automation, robotics, AI, technology, and so on? What do you think? 20%, that's it? 49%. 50%. So you got the answer. So many studies show that 1 in 2 jobs will be gone. 50% of today's jobs will be gone by 2030. Now this is scary. Just in case 50% just seems like a number, just imagine this. Each time you shake hands with somebody, remember, one of those 2 hands won't be there in 2030. So it's pretty scary. So what's going to happen is it's not that these jobs will go away, they'll be transformed into newer jobs. So some of these industries are completely transforming our world. So how many of you have, do you have Uber in St. Lucia? Not yet. Not yet. You have Uber, okay. Oh, Sluber, I like it. Sluber, I like it. I should check it out. So companies like Sluber and Uber are completely transforming the transportation industry by using technology. Netflix is completely transforming the entertainment industry. How many of you have watched, is that me? How many of you have watched Netflix? Ooh. So I don't have to explain how Netflix is transforming the entertainment industry. Airbnb. A lot of apartments and so on in St. Lucia are under Airbnb. That's completely transforming the hotel and the tourist industry. So some of these companies are completely transforming how our entire planet works. So all of these jobs are going to transfer from the kind of jobs we have today to newer modes of operation. So there'll be new jobs created by all of these companies. But just imagine, but these jobs are different jobs. So what this means is that 50% of the people that are going to lose their job need to be upskilled. So we have a planet-scale upskilling task ahead of us. So the talk in the US, as we move to self-driving lorries or self-driving trucks, maybe people, instead of driving trucks, will become IT operators sitting in the background, typing away on the keyboard, making sure the truck stays up. So jobs will be transformed. So we have a massive upskilling, a planet-scale upskilling task ahead of us as we look into the future of education. But let's look at today's colleges, whether it's MIT or Oxford or Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. All of our colleges today are not very different from how these colleges were 100 years ago. So Tracy was telling me earlier that this college has traces back over 100 years. So just imagine, not much has changed in all of this time in education, whether it's here or anywhere else. But just imagine, if a lot of the colleges, if a lot of the universities cannot be working with students that are working already, most of our colleges work with students who are 18 years of age when they come to college. So what's the age of students when they come to the college usually? 18 years? 16, 17, 18. But just imagine if half the world's population has to be upskilled, they're already working. But our community colleges or universities are not able to deal with lifelong learning that has to be the future of education. So how do we transform how we teach? How do we transform entire populations into lifelong learners? These are all really big challenges of our times, and we'll talk a little bit about how all of us have to change in order to deal with that. So edX was formed about 6.5 years ago to tackle some of these major challenges facing us. So edX, we're a nonprofit, founded by Harvard and MIT. And the way we work is as follows. So our mission is to increase access to quality education to everybody in the world. Our big, audacious goal is to educate 1 billion people around the world. We want to improve the quality of education, whether on campus like yours, or outside, or online. And we also want to do research on how learning happens. So what is edX? So you all know Uber, right? So what does Uber or Sluber do? So they built a platform. It's a platform company. They built a platform. And that platform connects people in cars. How many of you would have taken an Uber or a St. Lucia Uber? Okay, some of you. So let me think of something else. So let's think of, how many of you have watched YouTube? No one has? Okay, so then show me some enthusiasm. All right. So all of you watch Uber. So what is YouTube? YouTube is a platform. YouTube has nothing. They have no content creators, they have no people, they have no trucks, they have no garages, nothing. YouTube is a platform. In the same way, edX is a platform. So on YouTube, it's called a two-sided market. You have people that can post videos, people that can post content, or institutions that can post content, and they connect that to people that want to view the content. It's a two-sided market. People put content, people view content, and YouTube is a platform. Similarly, edX is a platform company. So we built an online software platform. So all we are is a piece of software. So edX is a platform, and we partner with some of the world's best institutions who create content on edX. So these institutions could be MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, Oxford, about 140 institutions, some of the top institutions in the world that create content and put that content on edX. And then we have learners all over the world that learn, and that come to edX and learn. Okay, so here it's not watching YouTube videos and watching a cat typing on a typewriter, but here is taking high quality courses and even getting certification on edX. I'll leave this thought with you. I'll give you the answer in about 5 minutes. How many St. Lucians do you think are already edX students? So I heard that I got one statistic wrong. I know the buildings are 100 years old. I got one stat wrong, but how many students are in this college, 1,500 to 2,000? So SALCC has about 2,000 students. Can you guess how many students from St. Lucia are on edX today? How many students are learning on edX that have? Who wants to guess? 5,000. 40. So the number is somewhere between 40 and 5,000. Okay? And we'll come to the answer eventually. So our mission is to increase access to education for people all over the world, and we partner with universities who put content on edX, and then people from all over the world come and take our courses. So that's who we are. So today, to give you a sense of how big online education has gotten, since the edX platform, we have 16 million students from every single country in the world, including St. Lucia. Every single country, 228 by certain counts. We have more than 2,000 courses on the platform. 60 million courses have been taken. We also launched a Spanish platform. So if you go to, so if you're a Miss Tracy student, you could type in edx.org/es and you'll come to a Spanish language platform. Okay, it's all completely in Spanish, and we have 2 million Spanish language learners. So let's look at some St. Lucia stats. So how many? So between 40 and 5,000. So that's, you recognize that island? That's St. Lucia, right? So we have 2,000 learners from St. Lucia on edX. And that is St. Lucian learners that are using the local IP addresses. So I had a team, so we do a lot of analytics. They just looked at where the IP addresses come from. So this doesn't count St. Lucians that are using VPNs or in other countries. From this island, there's 2,000 learners on edX. On average, your students on edX take 3 courses, which is exactly the world average. The world average is 3 courses on edX. So they've enrolled in 6,400 courses. You want to guess what the favorite courses of St. Lucians are on edX? So we have all of this. The beauty of online learning is we have all of these analytics. We know everything. We capture every single mouse click. We know what answers students are giving. We know everything. And imagine our university partners do research with this data to see how students learn. So what do you think are the most popular courses? I heard someone say Spanish. What else? Pardon? IT, computer science. What else? Business, management. What else? What else? Law, accounting. So y'all took away my punchline. You all got it. The single most popular course in St. Lucia, they all like Introduction to Computer Science from Harvard. It's the single highest enrolled course from St. Lucia's, from Harvard. The second one is financial accounting. So ACCA, how many of you all know ACCA? ACCA? Stay away from me. I know. So watch out, huh? We have lawyers and accountants in this room, so careful. So in the US, no one's heard of ACCA, but I guess in British areas, everybody knows about ACCA. So ACCA is an edX partner, so that's a very popular course. Excel, analyzing data with Excel is very popular. Project management, both Adelaide's project management and IDB project management is hugely popular. And believe it or not, basic Spanish is on the list. So St. Lucians want to learn Spanish. So now let me shift gears a little bit and talk to you about how we are trying to change the world. So I talked about how we need to educate a planet. But you go to a college, you get a degree, and once you go out into the workplace, how do you go and get back a second degree? So let's say I'm 30 years old, I'm working somewhere, and I need to go and re-educate myself. The chances of my going back to college for 2 years or 4 years, have a family, have a job, what are the odds that I can go back to college? 0. No way. So we have to change the way we think to reskill the whole planet. We have to create new credentials. If I already have a bachelor's degree, why would I get another bachelor's degree? So one of the things we're doing on edX is creating new ways, new models of learning. So one new model we've invented is called micromasters. So you all heard about computers? There was a microcomputer. So similarly, there's the masters. So we invented the micromasters. So micromasters is completely online. It's about 25% of a master's degree. You can learn it completely on edX. So you can complete that in about 1/4 of the time of a master's degree. So for example, we have a master's in marketing analytics. So I was at a property management company here yesterday, Tropical Villas. I was talking to the owner, and she was talking about how they have to really rethink all this digital marketing nonsense. How do you deal with all of that stuff? So today, it's all about digital marketing. So you can do a MicroMasters in marketing analytics from Berkeley on edX. So you can learn a MicroMasters in artificial intelligence from Columbia, a MicroMasters in robotics from University of Pennsylvania, a MicroMasters in manufacturing from MIT. So you can get these MicroMasters in a variety of fields completely online. One of the interesting things about these is that there's no admissions. So we are breaking every single known tenet of education. So when you think of education, think of any principle a policy you followed, we're doing exactly the opposite. To get into a top university, you have to fill up an application form. It's very hard to get in. How do you, if you want to make education truly democratic, ours is open admissions. Anybody is welcome. If you can come in and you can cut it, you'll get a MicroMasters. You can learn for free on edX. I forgot to mention that. You can learn for free. You can come to edX. If you haven't done it, go to edx.org, edx.org. Go there, click, and you can start learning for free. We're a nonprofit. There's also a mobile app. You can download the mobile app and you can be learning on your mobile device. All free. You want the credential? You want the credential, the MicroMasters? Again, even though we're a nonprofit, we have to keep the lights on. So we charge for credentials. So the MicroMasters is about $1,000 US dollars. It's about 2,800 EC dollars. And so imagine the supply chain MicroMasters at MIT cost 60,000 US 1 year. You can get the MicroMasters from MIT on edX for about 1,000 US. It's very affordable, but you can learn for free. You can go to edX and you can learn all the stuff for free. Completely free. You want the credential, you pay a small fee. It's also, each MicroMasters is endorsed by a company. So for instance, we have a MicroMasters in AI from Columbia. It's endorsed by GE. So each of them is endorsed by a corporation. And then finally, if you get admission into the university and you want to do a full master's degree, this will count towards credit towards your master's for free. So it's a very radical new credential where we are questioning every single norm that we followed throughout life. We're questioning every single thing and saying, why do we need it? So let me ask you a question. Education is a human right. You all agree? We agree. It's like the air we breathe. Do you pay for the air? Imagine if you got charged a penny for every time you took a breath. But education should be very affordable for everybody. But then, have you ever thought of this when you apply to a college? Why don't they have admissions? Can you imagine if I were to say, okay, people on the left cannot breathe. You all can. Would you like that? No. Similarly for education, why is it that we limit people that can join? So MIT, for example, admits only 6% of the students that apply. So for every 1,000 students, they admit only 60. Also, isn't it funny that universities that exclude more people are considered more reputable? Isn't that funny? So the television provider here, Flow. So imagine if you had to Flow, if you had to apply to Flow. Although let's do Lucia. Lucia is an electricity provider, right? So imagine if Flow comes to you and says, okay, let's see, fill up an application form. They make you do that anyway. And then they check your income and they give you an exam. They say, okay, I'm not going to supply electricity to you. Would you like that? Imagine if for every 1,000 applicants, they only supplied electricity to 60 people. You'd be upset. So why do we allow that to happen in education? So any ideas? So why does that happen in education today? Why do we limit the people that can come into a university? At MIT, 6%, Harvard, 6%. Why is that? It's a right, it's a human right. Someone said resources? Resources. Limited resources. That's right. It's because we are campus bound. At MIT, the number of people that can come in is limited by the number of people that can be on campus. But when you use technology, so in the movie theater, you go in, once 200 people fit in, that's it, they close the doors. How many people can watch YouTube? Anybody, because of technology. They don't close the doors. Similarly for education, by bringing digital technology, everybody can access. It's like a campus. Everybody can come in. You don't have to have admissions. So it's funny how your mind works. We are so used to limited campuses that when you go to digital technology and transform technology, you can question everything. In fact, what is funny is that the early universities that went online, they too had admissions like everybody else. But you don't need to have it. Everybody can learn. The incremental cost of each additional student is very, very low. The resources scale beautifully because of the cloud. So that is something to keep in mind, that by bringing digital technology, we can make it accessible to as many people as want access to it. So in addition to the big numbers, I'll tell you some interesting stories. So Mia Radish is one of our students. And she completed, she had a small job. She completed the MicroMasters in supply chain, applied to Akamai. It's a cloud computing company. She got a job and doubled her income. She studied for a few months online on edX, completed the MicroMasters in supply chain, and got a big job. In fact, many companies are now stepping up and guaranteeing job interviews for people that complete MicroMasters. So the Tech Mahindra is a company in India. Do you have Mahindra trucks or tractors in St. Lucia? Oh, you've seen them, Mahindra, here. Okay, it's the same company. So Tech Mahindra, they're using MicroMasters to upskill 117,000 of their employees. They've gone one step further. What they've said is that they will guarantee a job interview to anybody in India who completes one of 10 MicroMasters. GE has said anyone from Massachusetts that completes one of four MicroMasters gets an automatic job interview. So we are also working with corporations to democratize the whole job application process. We mentioned earlier that edX is open source. We like to give things away for free. Did I mention that you can take courses for free on edX? So our platform is also free. So we've taken our software and we've given it away to the world for free. In fact, where's Royston? So do you have OpenEdX running here already or not yet? Working on it, all right. So we've given away our software for free. So can you imagine, so Google, how many of you have done Google searches? Okay, where can I get the best beer? So you can do Google searches. So imagine that Google search algorithm and software is proprietary, right? Google doesn't make it available for free. What edX has done is we made our software free as well. That's our platform. We've given it away to the world for free, so anybody can use it. In fact, today, if you look at edX has 16 million students. There are over 800 sites around the world that are based on, that use OpenEdX, including many nations. So on the top left-hand corner, you see Xuetang. It's a platform launched by the Chinese Education Ministry, OpenEdX. In the middle is France. It's called France Université Numérique Fund, OpenEdX. Top right-hand corner. Anybody able to read that? Anybody read Russian here? That's a Russian national platform. It's called openedu.ru. I thought that was really cool. Imagine Putin's government borrowing or using open source software developed in the US to train all the students in Russia. I thought that was really cool. So people that come and ask me, so what did you put in that software? So that's the Russian national platform. Hong Kong MOOC is the Hong Kong platform. Durub is the Saudi Arabian platform. Campus.il is the Israeli national platform. They've all adopted it. And did I tell you it's free? Many universities have adopted it. Stanford has adopted it for their platform. Many companies have adopted it, like McKinsey. Anyone of you go to McKinsey Academy? Anybody of you go to the medical academy, Harvard Medical Academy? These are all OpenEdX instances. So you can go to GitHub, and you can download our software for free, and you can launch your own site, and you can become a competitor for me. So I have 2,000 St. Lucians. Let's see if we can get more than 2,000. No, I'm serious. You can create your own courses. And in fact, you should. You know, you can be the first Caribbean island or the first, even in the broader, this part of the hemisphere, be the first nation to adopt OpenEdX and launch a site. It doesn't cost much. It's all cloud hosted. It's hosted on Amazon. So you can go and launch it on Bitnami or whatever. It's all cloud hosted. You can launch it for your whole school. Of course, your students can come and take edX courses. Or you can launch your own platform and then you can become my competitor. And next time, you all can go and give talks around the world and say, edX has 16 million, we have 20 million students. And you can use our software to do that. So that's what open source means. We've given it away. So you can use it for whatever you want. So let's say, for example, you want to create courses completely under your control, you can do that. And you can use it for improving I know cost is a big issue everywhere. I don't know of a single university where budgets are increasing. Budgets only go downhill. All budgets go downhill. You all know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. So with online, you can improve quality. You can reduce cost. You can make things more efficient. Maybe do some more online, some in person, and do a mixture of those things. I'll talk about that. So these are some of our students. Anybody recognize yourselves? So we do surveys of our students regularly, and 43% of our students are telling us that the certificate has already given them an improvement in their careers, like a pay raise or a new job, and so on. So what does an edX course look like? So you go to the edX.org site. The pedagogy of the platform is called active learning. Now, the first thought that comes to your mind when you go to online learning, you can say, it's useless. On campus, online is useless. It turns out that learning science has shown that online can be as good, and in many cases better, than in-person education. The pedagogy we use is called active learning. It's like the Socratic method. It's teaching that makes you think. So teachers adopt this trick. So did you see Tracy adopting the trick when she got up to speak? You saw a trick that Tracy used? So what trick do you think Tracy used when she was up there giving her talk? She started by asking a question. That's the Socratic method. You make people think while you're. So it's a fantastic trick that good teachers use to engage the students. So with active learning, what we do is you have to make the student think. If you just show them a 1-hour video, they fall asleep. So instead, we interweave videos with interaction, with interactive exercises. So we'll show them a 5 or 10-minute video. Okay, and then following that, we'll show them a little exercise. They have to solve an exercise, or there'll be a little discussion, or there'll be some engagement that they have to do. They have to engage their mind. So this form of learning is called active learning, and it's been known for 45 years, since 1972, that this is a proven technique to improve learning outcomes. Now, on campus, your best teachers do that. Your best teachers do it naturally. So, no one necessarily has taught them that. They've learned that by engaging the students learn better. But online, every course can be like that. You don't have to hope and dream that you get a great teacher. So I'll show you some data. So here's some data done by the scientists at Gabrielli and the others at the MIT Cognitive Science Laboratory. They wanted to understand two things. One is, what techniques improve learning? And second, why does those techniques improve learning? Why do those techniques improve learning? So in these graphs here, on the left-hand side is learning outcomes of learning, just by showing people video. That's the same as listening to a lecture. On the right-hand bar, it's called interpolated testing. It's active learning, where you show short videos and you interleave exercises between those. And you can see the learning outcomes are significantly better when you engage students in that way. The second part of the study was to figure out, why is it that people learn better that way? So these were brain and cognitive scientists. So what they did was, they took EEGs of the brain of students who were learning. Anyone here read EEGs? Anybody can read EEGs here? Actually, I've given talks where people have been able to read EEG. I asked them to explain it. So you see 3 EEG patterns here. The EEG on the left, so this is the brain pattern of those students while they're studying in the various modes, video and active learning. So on the left-hand video, you see more yellows and reds, and on the right-hand EEG pattern, you see more blues. Yellows and reds are sleep pattern. Blues are the mind is very active. So you can see that the brain is wired, that if you are not making the brain do work, the brain naturally goes to sleep. So that gives you a quick overview of edX. In the last part of the talk, let me talk about, where do I see education going in the future? What is the future of education in this new world of ours, where half of today's jobs will be gone by 2030? What should universities look like? How should we be thinking about education? I see three important trends. And if you're a university leader, a college leader, you should be thinking about these things. You should be thinking of digital transformation. One of the trends is modular education. Second is omni-channel. And third is lifelong. Modular, omni-channel, lifelong. MOL. Okay, just remember that. Modular, omni-channel, lifelong. So let's look at what I mean by these three trends. So what is modular education? So today's education is stovepipe. You go to a college, you spend 4 years there, and that's it. It's a big package. It's a package deal. But I believe that in the future, education will be more modular. You will be able to get pieces of education. If you don't want a full master's degree, why not just get a piece of it? So the MicroMasters is an example. So imagine education becoming more like Lego blocks. You get pieces, and you can compose the pieces. So the beauty of modular education is you can stack. So on edX, for example, you can get a MicroMasters in Analytics for free. You want the credential from Georgia Tech, it's $1,500. You can do it today. The field which has the largest number of open jobs in the world today is data science. How many of you heard of data science? Data science is one of the hottest topics, searched topics on edX. And do you know how much it costs to learn that on edX? It's free. It's the hottest topic. You do it, you get a job like this. So you can do MicroMasters in Analytics, and you can do a piece of it, and you can get the certificate, and that's it. Or you can continue on. We've also launched fully online master's degrees. We've launched one from Georgia Tech for under 10,000 US in analytics. And if you want the full degree, you can continue for the full degree. But you have to get admission after the MicroMasters. So you can stack up these things. The other thing you can do with modular education is you can share modular content. So this is something for you to think about. What does it mean to share content? So today at SALCC, I would imagine that all the content comes from here. So let's say, for example, I have a student that let's say there's a cutting edge in data science. There's R programming. Any of you have done R? One of you has done R. So R is a really, if you want to get a job in data science in the pharmaceutical or medical industry, you learn R. R is cutting edge. Very few places, even MIT does not teach R. Okay, very few places teach R, but everybody wants to learn R. So what you can do is you can share. So here's what we did. So we have a MicroMasters in Data Science from University of California, San Diego. Okay? We have that on edX. So the Vice Chancellor of the IT University in Pakistan, it's a college just like yours, they approached us and said, you know what? We want our students to learn data science, but we don't have data science. You can't hire data scientists even in the top colleges. If you know data science, you can get a job for a $250,000 US. Okay, we professors don't make a lot of money. So why would I want to be a professor in data science? I'll go get a job. So what do? So he had a problem. So what they did was they said they adopted the MicroMasters from edX for their campus students. So even though those students are on their campus, they are doing the online MicroMasters on edX as part of their campus master's degree. So why should it be that they should only learn from campus professors? So those students are taking 4 courses as part of their master's degree, as part of the campus master's degree, through edX from UCSD. And then they take 6 other courses from the campus faculty, and the campus IT gives them a degree. Isn't this very natural when you think of digital technology? If I go to Courts, I buy my TV and they don't have a great TV stand, I can go to a Radio Shack or I can go to Johnson's and buy. In fact, that's what I did. I bought you buy a TV in Courts, you can buy a TV stand at Johnson's. Imagine if they made you buy TV stands only in Courts. What if Courts did not have a TV stand? What do? You have a TV, but you have nowhere to put it. With modular education, you can share. If you have students here that want to learn R programming, but you can't teach R, send them to edX, and they can learn, and you can give them a degree. So you can do this stuff with modular education. And you can combine great in-person education with online education. So the next part is, so that is modular. Next part is omni-channel. So with omni-channel education, if you look at Amazon, how many of you heard of the Amazon purchasing this company, Whole Foods? About 6 months ago. So Amazon is an online juggernaut. They bought Whole Foods. They went omni-channel, in person, online. So in retail, omni-channel is the big buzz. Everybody's going retail and online. Courts. How many of you have shopped at Courts? Wait, I mean, I can't tell if you have or not. I mean, you have, okay, good. How many of you have shopped online at Courts? Okay, some of you have. So Courts is omni-channel. Some people, by the way, just so you know, if you shop online at Courts, you can often get 20% off, and you can pick up the item at Courts. So it doesn't make sense to go to Courts and buy at the shop. Anyway, that's a different. It's a little shopping tip. But big companies are going both online and in person. So similarly, education will go omni-channel. So I'll give you one example of omni-channel. The MicroMasters is an example of omni-channel, where you do a MicroMasters online, and then you go to campus, and then you can complete a master's degree on campus. That's an example of omni-channel. Another example, at many universities around the world, at Georgia Tech and MIT, they're now allowing the students to take some fraction of their curriculum completely online for campus credit. So at Georgia Tech, for example, there are too many students in the introduction to Python class. How many of you here know Python programming? Okay, some of you do. So I don't know, I want to learn Python. So a lot of students, every first year student wants to learn Python. Okay, and very popular language. So that they couldn't fit them into a classroom. So they said, okay, they gave students a choice. You can do it in class or you can do it online. And what is amazing is that 82% of the students rated the online better than the campus experience. Whoa. And these are full tuition paying students. So again, this omni-channel is going to be big. Similarly at St. Lucia, at your college, think about it. You should think about giving your students the opportunity to take some things completely online and some things completely in person. Different people might choose different things. So let's brainstorm a little bit. Why do you? So let's say Royston is a student at St. Lucia, right? Why do you think he might want to do, even though he's on campus? Why do you think he might want to do something completely online? Why? If he can come to class and work with fantastic professors here, why do you think some students might want to take a course completely online? Yes? He has a job. So if someone has a job and I have to go and my client calls me, I want to have my timing be flexible so I can learn at night and so on. What else? What are the other reasons? Any other reason for a campus student to learn online? Flexibility. So it took me 40 minutes to drive from Rodney, and then it's a really windy road. Maybe instead if I instead of coming to campus for 5 or 6 days a week, maybe I can come for 3 days a week to campus and save all the money on petrol and learn for 2 days at home. Give me the flexibility. I can learn it. I don't know about you, but I can't learn in the morning. So when I went to college, I hated getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning for my class. I hated it. So when I became a professor at MIT, I told them my classes don't start earlier than 11. I like to study at night. Midnight, my brain is active. How many of you learn better at midnight or late night? So most of you, so then why do you drag your kids to class at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning? Why? So online, with online you can study when you want. And you'll be shocked. So on edX we watch when the peaks are. So we watch when the peak learning is. So do you know what the peak time when students watch and learn on edX? The peak, what is the peak hour? Pardon? You got it. 12 to 1 at midnight. Peak hour. It just shoots up at 12 to 1. Then why do we drag students at 8 o'clock in the morning? I don't get it. So online gives you flexibility. The other thing is on the MIT study, the students reported a lot less stress. because now you can have flexible deadlines. So for me, the biggest stress was I missed a class. How do I make up? On exams on edX, in campus you write the answer. How many of you made silly mistakes in your exams? Very stressful. I made all kinds of silly mistakes. Online, we give you 4 tries. Take an edX course. Check out an edX course. We give you 4 tries to get it right. If you make a silly mistake, it's okay. You can do it again. And then finally, lifelong education. I talked about how people who are working and need to reskill, we need to move to a whole culture of lifelong education where we need to be studying throughout life and not just at the age of 18 to 22. Now, SALCC as a community college, you are well suited to that. A lot of your students, I imagine, are lifelong learners who want to continue learning throughout life. It's already a commuter campus. People come here, but again, think about online as to how maybe you can connect with your students much more throughout life. So with that, let me quickly summarize. 3 big trends for education in the future: modular, omni-channel education, and lifelong education. And the advice and the discussion I have in every college and university that I meet is to be thinking about these 3 trends as you think ahead. How can you use technology to transform how you teach on campus? If you have budget constraints, that's a great opportunity to think of how you can use digital technology to help you. Can you do more with less? Maybe after 5 years of digital transformation, you can return another $1 million to the government and say, hey, look, we're going to give another $1 million back to you. So you can do that with digital. Can you get more efficient that way? So think about many of these ideas as you think of transforming yourselves. So with that, let me pause, and I think I have some time for a few questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Agarwal. And of course, because we are in an academic institution, I have a few questions for the teachers who are always poorer students than they are, that they always want to give exams, so when it's time for them to take an exam, they don't perform as well. If you can remember. Professor Agarwal said that edX costs how much? Gratis. Very good. First question, correct. Second question, the acronym MOL. What does the M stand for? The O? And the L? Cheaters, they're looking at the projection. The discussion today will be moderated by Mr. Jermaine Anthony from the Ministry of Education, and we welcome him on the stage at the moment to be the moderator.
Hello, how are you?
We will take questions from the audience as well as from our online viewers. We welcome you, once again, online viewers, on www.salcctv.org.
That was my cue. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just as a brief introduction of myself, my role in the Ministry of Education is as a curriculum specialist for supporting technology integration. And it so happens that I am the interlocutor for, never mind the word, but the representative for the virtual university of the small states of the Commonwealth, which is itself part of the broader Commonwealth of Learning, which I think faculty at SAFA is very familiar with. And so all of these activities, I think, inexorably led to me being seated here, not because of any real merit. So it's a real pleasure and an honor to be on the same platform, at least temporarily, with Professor Anant. And let me say personally, thank you very much for making St. Lucia your second home.
Yes,
I'm
really delighted to be here. And my dream, after I educate 1 billion people, my dream would be to retire in St. Lucia.
So let me let you in a little secret. I've already alerted our Minister of Education, our permanent secretary, that Professor Anant wants to live in St. Lucia, retire here peacefully, but we will not let him retire peacefully. We will engage him as much as we can and exploit him fully. Because the imperative, we come from maybe somewhat different cultures, but post-colonial Commonwealth countries, and the education imperative could not be, I think, more similar. So we're very focused on what countries like India are doing, the way education leads the way to development, and in the region, St. Lucia is just too small to think about St. Lucia's needs alone, but the OECS, what we do at SALCC is important in the region. So maybe I can open the floor for questioning. I'm just here to, moderate. So don't be shy.
Okay. All right, as we take questions, so we ask everybody to keep it brief so that as many persons as possible could ask questions. So to the point, brief, precise, thank you very much.
Yeah, no cluster questions, just one question.
Oh, I was going to ask two. Good afternoon. First question, you made the point about the 2030 and the jobs losses. I was just wondering whether that is going to affect universities and colleges negatively or positively. Are you going to see an increase in teachers, you think, or a decrease in teachers? And my real question, though, is the issue of certain subjects which require a lot of practicals and labs, like engineering and medicine. Do you think there's going to be a point where you're actually going to see a breakthrough, particularly in those subjects? Do you think that the technology is going to get to the point where you're going to actually get more simulations or online content for those types of subjects? Because as it is right now, it's still a pretty difficult area to actually go and do an online degree in engineering, for instance.
So on the, on the first one, it's a great question. And the way I would answer the question is post-technology revolution. So you had before and after. Are there more journalists today, or were there more journalists before the internet? Journalists. So the internet completely transformed journalism, right? You had people who wrote for the newspapers. So did you have more journalists before or more today? There's 100 times more journalists today than there were in the past. But the traditional journalists are all gone. Okay, only a few people like me read the newspaper on paper, but most people read things online. But the traditional journalists are few. But there are many more bloggers and news writers. There's many, many more. Everybody's a blogger and news writer today. So there's many more jobs. Similarly for teaching, I think 20 or 30 years from now, the style of teaching, if someone insists on teaching in the old style, I think those will be fewer. But if you want to teach online, so on edX, for example, we have thousands of professors and teachers teaching online. And with open edX platforms, anybody can go and launch a course. So I think there will be many more teachers that will be teaching in their specialty areas. But the traditional form will be fewer, but this newer mode of teaching will be much higher. And then to your second point about teaching engineering subjects, you really should jump in and take an edX course. In fact, try out my circuits course. We have online simulation technology that using virtual simulations where you can do incredible labs. So you can do labs with music, and you can upload music and listen to how it sounds. And there are all kinds of simulations in biology courses. We have chemistry labs, we have bio labs. You can do all of that online. And in fact, the open source movement is also contributing modules, software modules back to the platform. So if you all develop some new tool to teach some subject, contribute it back to the world. So I think that we can teach all kinds of labs online. And then with virtual reality, once you put those goggles on, you can have 3D labs.
Thanks. We have another question.
Okay, I wanted to find out whether the courses that you offer are all accredited courses. And the second question is that if the Arthur Lewis Community College were to be a contributor, what would be the requirement to offer courses on your platform?
So the first question is, are all the courses accredited? And the word accredited is a loaded term. It means different things in different countries. But if you mean that those courses can articulate for credit into a university, all our MicroMasters courses are accredited. They all translate into credit. So we have more than 50 MicroMasters. Name a cutting-edge topic. We have a MicroMasters in that topic. And each MicroMasters has about 4 or 5 courses. So all of those have pathways to credit. For St. Lucia, the way I would think about it is that on our platform, I would be delighted to discuss with you what it would take to use our platform either as open source, where you can do it yourselves, or I can put you in touch with third parties that can do it with you, or with edX. There are all kinds of ways of doing this. So we'd be happy to have a conversation. But it's very easy. We also have online courses on edX on how to teach online.
So if I may follow from that question, what would be the benefit to SALCC to have their own copy of an edX, their own edX platform?
So I think it has to do with digital transformation. At the leadership of SALCC, or as part of the Ministry of Education, we want education in St. Lucia 100 years from now look exactly like it is today. Do you want education? The education today looks exactly like it was 100 years ago, I promise you. The school that I went to in India, I promise you there were etchings on the desks from 100 years ago. Same classroom, same everything. If you do nothing, then 100 years from now, things will be exactly the way they are. But instead, you could think of, we are given the platform to the world so that you can experiment. So you can experiment with it and try new things. So for example, I'll give you 3 ideas. One idea. Why don't you create a course online and tell your students that they can take the course completely online. They don't have to come to campus. Okay? You're in Rodney Bay or Sufri or wherever. Take the course completely online for campus credit. It's a big benefit. Many of you told me why it's good for the students. Right? You're working in the daytime. You have a job in the hotel or something, and then at nighttime you want to be getting your MicroMasters in hospitality management, or take a course from the community college. Maybe allow your students to take 10% of their courses completely online. You be radical. You be the first. Why don't you announce it, and you'll be the first university or the college in the world that is doing that. MIT is doing 2 courses. Georgia Tech 1 course. You be the first one. Say St. Lucia is the first country to say that the Ministry of Education say up to 10% or 20% can be completely online. So that is one example.
Might that also be a way of increasing enrollment at these institutions?
Absolutely. So you can take a poll today of your students and ask them if they could do online. So let's say I live in Viewfort. From Viewfort to here, what is it, 1 hour? How many students come from Viewfort to here? Does it make any sense to travel 1 hour, 10 minutes when the technology can come to you? Should you come to education? Should education come to you? So maybe you can come to campus for 2 days a week, and 3 days a week the campus can come to you completely online. So I challenge you to do that. You can do it. I give you the platform for free, and I'll help you set it up. Again, my services are free.
Thank you.
Just pointing out that technically Illumination has been reaching people online and delivering education as well. So,
all right. So we have Dr. Springer's question.
Okay, I'd just like to say thank you. It was quite eye-opening for even somebody that kind of knows about those things. I was just trying to figure out what types of that kind of chairs arrangements in terms of quality assurance and those sorts of things, whether it rests essentially on the institutions, or is it something that sort of a way?
So at the end of the day, the responsibility of the quality of content rests with the faculty and the institution. But edX plays a big part. We have developed a checklist. It's called a MOOC Development Checklist, MDC. We will not put a course on edX unless you check, everything is checked. There's about 40 items. So for example, your course must use active learning. If your course only has big videos, we won't put it on edX. So the quality is up to you, but we check everything. You have to have discussion forums. You have to have a syllabus. You have to have learning outcomes. You have to have all of these things. Only then will we launch the course on edX. And so it's a collaborative effort between edX and our universities. But then many universities don't know how to do this. Many faculty don't know what quality teaching is. So on edX, we've developed 4 courses. If you're a teacher, I encourage you to go take these courses. You go to our edX search bar and you type edX course creator. And you can take those courses. For how much money are those courses? Free.
Okay, thank you. So the point being that there's criteria and there's rigor in terms of which courses make it to edX.
Yes.
Okay, we have another question?
Afternoon.
Mr. Wayne?
Well, so I guess my question is more about, the future of education and it being more workforce responsive than it is today. And so I guess the success of edX is a great example of this, but it seems like more and more the future of education is taking place online rather than, this huge sprawling campuses. And so I guess I'm curious if what your thoughts are about, those similar trends presenting themselves in the workforce. So more and more companies are able to have teams who are based online rather than being based in an office. So I'm curious if you see those two trends, right, like the future of work and the future of education being linked, and if so, in what ways?
That's a terrific question, and I have not thought about that in the past. But certainly we're seeing more and more work being online. More and more people can telecommute, and I'm seeing more and more international teams. And in fact, I see one big linkage. I was talking to the head of learning at Boeing. So Boeing, they have 20,000 employees, and he's the head of learning, and he's responsible for teaching 20,000 employees. He's a big proponent of online learning, and I asked him, so why do you have classrooms in all of these cities? Boeing, they make those big planes. I said, why do you like online learning? Why do you care about that? He said, look, today our entire teams are multi-site, international. We have an engine plant in Connecticut. We have a plant building like the aluminum and so on in China. So there are plants all over the world. And they say the problem is that when they go and offer courses in each of those places, they all learn differently. They get different terminology. And then they go to work together, it's a mess. By having one common online course for the whole community online, they're all learning together, all having discussions together. So they've learned together, and then they can go and work together online as well. They're the same nomenclature, they're used to each other, they're used to the online model. So that is one reason as companies go to more and more international, more and more diversified workforces.
Well, I know I have a lot of questions, but yeah, okay, we have 2 more.
Go ahead. Both Allison and Coursera offer courses free like edX, as well as you pay for the certification. Differentiate yourself.
So there are many for-profit companies. So edX is the only non-profit in this space. So there are about, I would say, maybe 10, 20, 30 companies that also offer online courses. Allison, Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, Lynda, Skillsoft, Pluralsight, lots of companies. Every one of them is a for-profit company. They make money. Second, none of them has open sourced their platform. So if St. Lucia wants to adopt it, tough, you're out of luck. We are non-profit, and our platform is also open source. And I challenge you to try to take a free course. You mentioned Coursera. I challenge you to go try to take a free course there.
Are the ACCA courses free also?
Are the ACCA courses free?
So on edX, there are some paid courses, and there are some free courses. Most of the courses are free. With ACCA, I think they have about a small handful of courses. Some percentage of ACCA courses are free, and some percentage of courses are paid. So ACCA has both types on edX.
It is said that students learn, I guess I don't want to use the word better, but from the curiosity and learning from their peers. Would your platform facilitate peer learning?
Great question. How does the platform facilitate peer learning? So peer learning is where you learn from each other. And even in the classroom, there's a lot of interaction. So there are a lot of mechanisms on the edX platform to support peer learning. In fact, there is one problem type on edX called peer instruction, where the faculty can give that problem type. You learn from peers. You're given a question, you have to answer an essay, you submit the essay. Other students will provide comments and grade the essay. The essay comes back to you, I review it, I can change my essay, I give it back, and people will review it again. So that is called peer instruction. We have teams. You can create teams on edX where people can form small teams and work together. And there's also discussion, Q&A forums where you can ask questions. I have an interesting story. When we first launched edX, in my own course, there were 150,000 people learning for free and taking the course. I was really worried. My teaching assistants and I would have to answer all their questions. But what I discovered was that students were all helping each other. They were all answering each other's questions. And they were all learning from each other. So there's a lot of peer learning on the platform.
Okay. I have a question of my own at this time. Just today I was visiting Bellevue Hotel and found out that the entire IT operation is outsourced. So if you wanted better internet bandwidth in the conference room, they'd have to make a call to Barbados where they would handle that. Apparently the owners are also from Barbados. So the workspace is becoming increasingly open, and one of the challenges we have as the whole education system is how do we guide young people into those career paths which will become more relevant and of course which pay more in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So my question here is, would edX have the sort of data and analytics that would perhaps point young people into what are the next trending careers they should be looking at as opposed to the traditional curriculum here?
That's a very good question. The future of work is such that, frankly, anything that can be automated will be automated. Now, in the past, over the past 30 or 40, maybe 30 years, the mantra was anything that can be outsourced will be outsourced. But today, anything that can be automated, and for the next 30 years, will be automated. In fact, the biggest challenge for India is that all the jobs that we outsourced to India previously, all of those are now being replaced by automation. So all people you would call for support, all of that is being handled by AI. Even on edX, when you go to edX support and ask a question with a chatbot, 50% of our questions are answered by our AI assistant. By AI. You can't tell the difference. So AI is replacing, so if outsourcers replace the workers, AI is replacing the outsourcers. So trust me, it is going to happen. So the people in Barbados will soon also be replaced. So what are the jobs? So all the MicroMasters and professional certificates that we've created on edX have been created with future skills. So we have 50 MicroMasters and about 50 professional certificates. And every topic is the topic where the future jobs are. Digital marketing, AI, data science, software, web development, UI, UX. Pardon? Cybersecurity, project management, social work, education. Education is big. So these are all, just look at the list of MicroMasters, look at the list of professional certificates. That's where, cloud software. All of these are hot topics. Also, IT support. IT support is going to be huge. So we have a professional certificate on edX in IT support from Microsoft. So you can get an IT support certificate on edX, completely online, from Microsoft. And frankly, I think IT support will become one of the biggest, because at the end of the day, if everyone's using computers and software, you have to call somebody when things break.
Internet of Things, one of those courses?
Pardon?
Internet of Things?
IoT, yes, we have courses on IoT, Internet of Things. Yeah, just name the hot topic, and there is a MicroMasters and Professional Certificate on edX on it.
Great. All right. Royston?
Good afternoon, all. Before I make my comment, I want to thank Anant for actually coming here today. I mean, it was indeed a pleasure for me and an honor to listen to him speak. And I keep hearing questions about what we can access. And I get in the sense that we're still in the consumer mode. And I see edX as another opportunity, an opportunity to become creators. The problem with us is that we have content, but we're not packaging that content, we're not curating that content, and we're not making that content accessible to people who actually value it. And it is because traditionally we believe that we live in silos, you know, we're still local. And the internet come and change things. You know, and everybody in shock because now you know everybody's business, you have access to information all over the place. And it has become hard for us to accept, you know, online teaching and learning, online training as something that is viable. But I want to say clearly that the opportunity is not so much what we can get, but what we can give and what we can become and how we can transform ourselves through engaging in such an endeavor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I would like to add to that. In the past, if a country like St. Lucia or if a college like SALCC wanted to do something like that, the technology was very expensive and it was not existent. But now with Open edX, we've given it away for free. So anybody can adopt it. So you can just download it and you can be up and running within hours.
Okay. Vladimir, we have another question? Okay. That's our last question?
Going back to the question that Jumin asked about future skills and students and that sort of a thing, and what came to mind is not so much a question, probably a comment, is some of these jobs don't even exist yet. People haven't even conceptualized what these jobs are. And as for thinking in terms of developing and targeting that sort of thing, I'm thinking that the skill that should be targeted, which would be totally different from doing, but more or less critical thinking and that ability to change as things are changing is very, very important, because really we don't know. Some of the jobs that exist now, we really didn't know they were going to exist, like right now.
This is, you make a absolutely fantastic point. People ask me, what will be the future job? What will be the most popular future job? And my answer is simple. The most popular future job has not been invented yet. So many of the basic things like critical thinking, I would say the 5 or 6 or 7 skills: critical thinking, communications, teamwork, collaboration, empathy. These are all important skills that will be important for the future, and we should be teaching that. It turns out you can teach that online. And on edX, there is a professional certificate program, which you can take for free, in soft skills. And the first course in that is on critical thinking. So you can learn critical thinking online as well. And so, frankly, I think every person in college, no matter where you are or who you are or what job you want, you should learn those skills. And it's available. Critical thinking, teamwork, speaking, writing, collaboration, all of these things. In companies, they value these skills more than all the other skills that you have.
Thank you. I have one final question. I will. Okay. Certainly, yes. Go ahead.
what is the solution compared to that? I don't know. I can be corrected, but this is a great opportunity for us to create education that's accessible to persons who don't have the resources and the ability to get that understanding, and get us up there, get to be more competitive with the market globally. That's
Agreed. Agreed. I just want to take one final poll before I wrap up. And here's the question. How many of you here are just as comfortable taking online courses or learning online as you are or would be in a classroom? Show of hand. Okay.
I'm actually, can I interject?
Yes.
I'm actually very surprised. I thought none of your hands would go up. Because when I first began to shop online, now I'm as comfortable shopping online as I'm going to a shop. But when I started, I was very scared to shop online because I'm pulling out my credit card. What's going to happen? Yeah. Will it come? Will it not come? What will it look like? So I'm very surprised that all of you raised your hands. So you're very advanced.
Thank you very much for that. So you see, the real barrier is fear at the end of the day. And the apprehension that we've had, for example, going to Amazon for the first time. Now we prefer to shop on Amazon, obviously. So much so, I think Christmas time, people's packages were delayed by about 3 weeks. So I think it's just a matter of, if I could speak on behalf of our population, it's just something that has to catch on. But SALCC Fellows, being in its unique position, has to be the advocate for online learning, for courses, and to courses that are available online, so that the access to these resources is really, advertised. So thank you again, Professor. Oh, we have an online question.
Yes.
Hold on.
We are online.
Will we be able to
Illumination
hear?
is online. We've been there.
Okay.
So we do include our online viewers as well, our online students as well in the discussion. So we're going to take one or two questions from online before we close off the session.
Okay, certainly.
All right. Okay, the first one is from Melissa Jemat Emmanuel. She says, Professor Agarwal used the comparison of the increased number of journalists now than a few years ago. We now have the issues of fake news and unreliable information in the public domain. Shouldn't we now be concerned that the increased number of teachers online will greatly minimize the quality of education received?
That's a good question. And as you have more and more people doing something, there's more and more opportunity for the quality to go down. And really what has to happen is mechanisms for quality control. So even with news sites, there are mechanisms now for upvoting sites. You go and talk to people that tell you these are good sites, these are not good sites. So sometimes technology can move very fast, but the policies and the ethics catches up. And so for journalism, those things are catching up. So with education, I think the same thing will happen. Soon you will have a lot of courses, a lot of content, and you won't know what is good and what is bad. So I think there will be a period of too much choice, where people won't know what to pick. But then there'll be a new industry that will start up. So maybe many of you professors will form your own website, where you will go into the business of curation. You will say, okay, don't take Professor Anant Agarwal circuits course, it's terrible. Instead, go take this other circuits course. So you will have a following yourselves, and we will see more and more of these businesses pop up that will help in curation of these courses.
So I think something similar is already happening with the virtual university, with what they call a transnational qualification framework. So I imagine something like that could form part of the self-regulating apparatus, where universities would have to match a certain, meet a certain set of standards to be a good course, as it were. Do we have another question online? Are we wrapping up? All right, thank you, Vlad. I don't think there's much more to say, except I'm very grateful to have been here at this momentous occasion, and I know SALCC Fellows will take the baton and run with it. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Agarwal and Mr. Anthony. One thing that is certain in life is what? Change. And because of our restrictions here at the college, we are placed in a unique position, and we do not know how amazing this is. The stars have lined up for us. We know that we have a lot of problems with our buildings. We are also developing our own associate's degree program. So with limited space, new courses being developed, an opportunity to have an online platform, ding, ding, ding. This is an amazing opportunity for us, and we cannot let that pass us by. Let us not be afraid of change. Let us grab it and run with it, because we will do well. And we have always been pioneers as St. Lucians, as Caribbean people. So let us start now. Innovation is where it is. The new phrase, right? Everybody's innovation,
And
innovation.
we have virtual tutors here already. Some of them I see.
Yes, exactly. So this is a wonderful opportunity. Another thing I would like to say is, there was a question asked about what should students in the future learn? What should they be studying? And as a lecturer, one of the things that I always tell the students is to study what you like. Because when you are passionate about something, that lifelong learning continues. And because of this edX course, you can now take courses in whatever it is that you love and become good at it. And when you become good at something, then you have self-actualization. Then you don't have to follow the traditional path of learning. You can be that #1 DJ because you have taken some kind of a technological course at edX. You can be the bomb Spanish teacher, right? There's so many things that you can be if you have the resources and the support and the passion. And edX offers us a free opportunity to do courses so that we can excel in our passion. At this point in time, I would like to invite Dr. Kathy Depredine, lecturer at the college, to present a token of our heartfelt thank you to Professor Agarwal.
Professor Agarwal, on behalf of the Board of Governors of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, the Office of the Vice Principal, and the Illumination Lecture Series Planning Committee, I wish to present this token to you. This token was donated by one of our master sculptors, Mr. Jalim Udovic. Mr. Udovic was very excited about this lecture in particular and what it portends. In fact, he, through this token, aimed to create a link between, a strong connection between what this lecture series initiates and, of course, our future. So, thank you so much for a most illuminating presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Depredine. At the beginning, when I was trying to kill some time, I was saying some wonderful things about Sir Arthur. Now that we come to an end, they say people remember what's at the beginning and what's at the end. So I must end with something here. This year, the college has undertaken several innovative initiatives. We had our Creole concert in October. We had trips to the French and Spanish-speaking countries. We had Nobel Laureate Week activities. And who can forget the Dennery segment discussion. Our debaters brought home trophies from St. Vincent. Entrepreneurship showcased many job opportunities for our students. The Health Science Department started their degree program, and we are on our way to doing similar. The Health Science Department is working at their degree program. We had student talks on being socially responsible. The hospitality students have been managing and catering at the campus's very own La Force restaurant, and the list can go on. For the first time, as I mentioned earlier on, we had an all-student cast producing and acting in a play, and that was fantastic, a little folk tale. These accomplishments and more for only this academic year has confirmed for us what we already know as educators here at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Our hard work does pay off. We try to give our students a solid foundation, and once they have gotten wings, they fly and they soar and they do exceptionally well wherever they go around the world. Thank you all who continue to support the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Thank you online viewers. Thank you supporters for our Illumination series. This is our 4th one, and we will continue in the next academic year. We would like to thank, of course, our illustrious lecturer, Professor Agarwal, for coming with us today, this afternoon. We would like to thank our sponsors, OECS, FLU, Valeri. We would like to thank the committee members, the hard-working committee members of this Illumination series, namely our chair, Vladimir Lucien, Natalie Jolie Fannis, Dora Henry, Vername Louisi, Royston Emmanuel, Michael Hart, and Ernest Otley. And of course, Garvin. How can we ever forget Garvin? We don't forget you. We was just saving you for last, Garvin. The support from housekeeping, the housekeeping department and team, the decor, ooh la la. Ernest Otley, Jacqueline Chalmine, Marie-Louis Catty, Anne-Marie Nouveau, Dora Henry, the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College IT Department, the Hunter J. Fassois Library, our moderator, of course, Mr. Jermaine Anthony, and you, our audience, for your questions, for everything that you've done, our online viewers. Vladimir, is there anybody that we're leaving out? We don't like to leave anybody out. Menage a Trois Wines. I don't know why I like to say that. Menage a Trois Wines, we thank you so much for your sponsorship of today's activity. We thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, and with that, I forgot somebody very important. We would like to thank the Most High, whoever that is for any one of you, because without that love and support from our Creator, we don't have innovation, we don't have creativity, we have nothing. So, of course, we like to end with saying thank you to the Most High for giving us the life and breath to live and enjoy. Thank you all.
Can I just quickly say that we not only begin lectures in the next academic year, but continue to look out for us online. There are numerous initiatives that the Illumination Committee is undertaking, which goes beyond the lecture series. So please keep in touch with SALCCTV.org. There's more to come from the Illumination Committee, and more that is at the cutting edge and trying to be what we are looking forward to being. Thank you.